We got breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Bear Down Bears fans. It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Per Ian Rappaport, the Chicago Bears have decided to trade for Kansas City All-Pro guard Joe Thuney. This is a big move for the Bears. The compensation being reported by Adam Schefter is a 2026 fourth-round pick to the Chiefs for the Pro Bowl All-Pro guard Joe Thuney. This to me is a very, very big move for the Bears because you're going out and you're getting somebody who is veteran leadership. You're going out and you're getting somebody who is veteran help on that offensive line. I think it makes the most sense. Still had a solid season last year, not playing his normal position by the end of the year. Remember, by the end of that season, he was playing left tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs, where he took over 200 snaps, but still having a solid season. Not as great in the run blocking game, 73.5 on PFF, but in that pass blocking game, an 82.0. Again, take PFF with a grain of salt. Remember, we saw in the Super Bowl. But I think the thing that you love about this is, number one, the health of Joe Thuney just makes sense for the team. To me, you're looking for somebody who can be a leader, who can be out there on a consistent basis. I understand the trade yesterday, and I've got my question marks on that trade. I still have my question marks, but you know what makes it feel a lot better? Having veteran all-pro help on the other side of that guy. I think that this opens up a ton of options for the Chicago Bears. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. Do you feel that this is a good move for the Bears moving forward? Do you like this kind of, realistically, for what it is, going into his age 33 season this year as a bridge kind of guard? Do you think that this is a good move for the Bears moving forward? Let me know down in the comments. I'll be down there talking with you as well. Now, priorities right now for the Chicago Bears as this deal gets done is, at 33 years old, he's now a Chicago Bear. He's going to make $15 million this year, about 15.5, and you got to re-sign him. I would assume, giving up a fourth-round pick, you probably want to re-sign him for at least through the 2027 season and make sure that he's going to be here for a couple of years. But I think this opens up a couple of different options for you now, heading into free agency, heading into the draft. Free agency, Drew Dahlman has been the target that the Chicago Bears have wanted to add the most. I think that it has been reported that the Bears are going to want to add the most, I should say. I think that this is going to be the one that makes that a little bit easier for you, right? Listen, you know that you're going to have the interior of your offensive line locked up. If you get Drew Dahlman, you don't have nearly as many questions. I've said this as well. If you answer that tackle position at left tackle, if you answer the center position, if you answer the right tackle position, and I'll tell you this, Joe Thuney's an answer at that right guard position, it opens up opportunity for you to be able to now have somebody in there who I think, like a Jonah Jackson, is a little bit more of a question mark in all of this. But in the run game, he's extremely solid. I shouldn't even say solid. He's extremely good. In the pass game, he can be solid. If I don't have a great at that spot, but I have great pieces all around that, I think that just makes life easier. And what does it do for Drew Dahlman's game if you do have a guy like Joe Thuney standing next to him? I think that would be an interesting get for the Chicago Bears. I also think, though, with two veteran guards now on the team in the last 2 days, number one, you're fully investing in Caleb Williams, and I love to see that. But with two veteran guards on the team, does this open up the opportunity for you to go after somebody who's maybe a young center in this draft? And there's a couple of names in this draft that I do think stand out. Number one, especially if you want to go with the guard, with somebody who has kind of that versatility, as this is a guarantee that you are letting Tevin Jenkins go. And Tevin Jenkins has been one of your most versatile offensive linemen on this team. We've seen him at right guard. We've seen him at left guard, left tackle, right tackle. He's somebody who has played just about every position on the offensive line except center. If you feel that this is a move that moves on from him, do you want somebody back in the fold who can have that versatility? To me, that screams a name like a Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State. I think that he's somebody who is starting to fly up the draft boards and maybe ends up settling around in that 20 to 25 range in the NFL draft. Could we see the Bears trade back, try and acquire more picks in this draft, and maybe go after a player like that? I think that you could open up the mindset in going out and getting a rookie center. And y'all know how I feel about Jake Majors. I've talked about him a couple of times. I think he's someone who's going to be a stud at this level. But when you have the veteran guards in place, it just makes his life easier. Now you're not putting all the pressure on him. You still need him to be very stout up front and make sure that Caleb Williams is not getting that pressure up the middle. But do you want to pair that center that the young Caleb Williams, who hopefully is going to be here for 10 plus years, with a center who also can be here for 10 plus years. I think that's kind of a conversation that I think opens up to the Bears right now, and one that I would love to see the Bears actually make happen. Now, I would still like to go, and I think Jake Majors goes a little bit later in this draft as well. So if you did sign Drew Dahlman and still went out and got Jake Majors, I think that's a great move. I think it's a move you need to make now with Joe Thuney in place at the guard position, because at 33 years old, listen, maybe he plays to 35 and he's still elite. Maybe he's one of those freaks of nature that's able to play to 37, 38 years old, and he's this dominant player. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but you need to have that backup contingency plan in place already. I like getting him in here on this contract. I know for a fourth-round pick, that's a little bit steep, but I think you get him in here on this contract that he's currently on, you extend him for a couple of years, you get somebody young in there, and it speaks to the message that Ben Johnson wanted to put out there. He said on the Waddle and Sylvie show, so we talked about, hey, we know you talked about wanting to go out there and win. He's like, it's not just about winning, it's about winning and winning now. This is a move that, to me, helps you win now. This puts your run game in a much better position. This puts your passing game in a much better position. We have seen what he has been as far as a protector on this team. What I do think is going to be interesting is Jonah Jackson and Joe Thuney have both played left guard primarily, both played on that left side. Is this a move to maybe bring Joe Thuney in at the left tackle, where he did play that in Kansas City, like I said, this season? I would rather see him in a spot that he's comfortable at guard. Could we see Jonah Jackson move to the right side and be next to Darnell Wright in this conversation now, even though he spent more of his time on the left side? I think that's a possibility now. And I know some people have pushed back on that yesterday, the opportunity of him moving to the right side. But here's why I wouldn't be mad at that. Number one, Joe Thuney has been an all-pro on the left side. That's a lot bigger than being a Pro Bowler on the left side. He's been an all-pro on that left side. And with an all-pro on the left side, how much does that help Braxton Jones if he's the guy that you keep at left tackle? If you go rookie left tackle, how much does that help that player? Go with the all-pro on the side that he's comfortable on. Jonah Jackson has been a Pro Bowler on that left side, but can you get him comfortable on the right side, playing that right guard position where maybe he slots in next to Darnell Wright, and Darnell Wright is kind of able to help him, and you get some of that longevity in that situation on the right side as well. I think at the end of the day, the focus needs to be on the center, though, moving forward, and this is the kind of move that sets the starting point. This is the starting point to me for the Chicago Bears, and it's the most investment we've seen out of this Bears team, dare I say, probably since Olin Kreutz was a young player on this team. We haven't seen this kind of investment in the offensive line much from the Chicago Bears in the last 25 years. By the way, you've already outspent completely what you were spending on your offensive line last season in two players this season. This is what big boy teams do. And I know a lot of people are going to look at this and say, well, Pat, if you're spending that much money in the trenches, what is that going to do for future contracts? What's it going to do for Kyler Gordon? What's it going to do for Jaquan Brisker? What does that do for all of these guys moving forward? I'll be honest with you, and I said this about the Myles Garrett situation. I don't know if Joe Thuney has that same conversation because of the age and how this probably ends up being a 2 to 3 year deal versus a 5 to 6 year deal. But when you have good players in the trenches, you can create those players. When you have good players in the trenches, you can create those players on the other side, or you can find those players again. I know we all go, you'll never be able to find a guy like that. You'll find those players again, because I don't have to worry about that guy having to worry about covering for 5-6 seconds because there's going to be pressure in the face of a quarterback, or I don't have to worry about my quarterback going out there and having to have a wide receiver struggle to get open as quickly as possible because he's only got 2 seconds back there in the pocket. This is a move that I think is one of the best moves I've seen Ryan Poles make in his tenure here in Chicago. I think this is a move that does help the Chicago Bears quickly this season to get back in the win column. And to me, this is a move that depicts exactly the kind of thing that Ben Johnson wants this Bears team to do, and that is win and win now. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you guys as well, just like I was yesterday. Hey, listen, hopefully we can be on the same side today. Yesterday, we were a little bit at war. We were a little bit at odds. Hopefully we're back on the same side today. Let me know how you guys feel, man. I'll be down there in the comments. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down. One love. Make sure to tap into the full Chicago Bears podcast. If you're like, Pat, that was really short, make sure to tap in. We're going to have a full Chicago Bears podcast with me, Jason McKee, and Brandon Thorne, who does a ton of work with offensive linemen, breaking down their film before the season, talking with them as they prepare for the NFL draft and different things like that. He had Jackson Powers Johnson on last year, a bunch of the guys that were in the draft last season. And he's doing that same thing here as well, evaluating the offensive line. So we're going to be talking all offensive line all day today. Stay tapped in with us, man. That's the kind of conversations I'm looking to have on the Chicago Bears podcast. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down. One love. Peace.